Hello, 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 everyone. I'm Odin Akelin, and today I'm gonna be trying to paint some minis. This has been a long time coming. Been trying to do it for a few weeks now, and been running into a lot of technical issues because the way my painting setup is, I'm not. It's in the opposite part of the room that my normal desktop PC is. So this is using different camera, different microphone. It's a different computer entirely. So if it's a little jank, my model's not responding. If it's a little laggy, that's why I'm still ironing out all the technical details. So that's we'll figure it out as we go. So hold on one moment. Let me get this checked out real fast. Okay, here we go. So, where to begin? So, what we're working on today is old Warhammer fantasy models. These were from well, okay, we'll start from the very beginning. Warhammer Fantasy is. Let me throw on some background music since I will be talking, but you can use a little bit of chillness in the background. Okay, Warhammer is an IP that a lot of people are familiar with, but you're more common now is the Warhammer 40,000, the sci-fi franchise that everybody knows with the Space Marines and everything like that. But the very original Warhammer was Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and then Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and everything like that. And it was kind of as you would imagine, it was fantasy based. So you had elements, very traditional type of fantasy. You had humans and dwarves and different various elves, like wood elves and dark elves. Dwarves, you had chaos dwarfs and regular dwarfs, and then you had stuff like lizard men and all that stuff. So what I'm painting is some pretty old models. These are actually, oh geez, probably they can go back to about maybe 2000s or so, and they were kits of the humans, the Empire, and the Knights. So particularly, I'm going to hold this up here. The focus will be a little interesting because I'm going to have to adjust it manually with this camera, but this is one of the horses that they'll ride. We'll be painting up the horse. This is just primed, and I gotta get, it's an above camera view right now, but that's the horse. And then these are a sample of the knights. I have them all on a little sprue thing I used for priming them and just kind of painting them together. We'll see as we progress along how I'm painting them up. And the kind of lore behind these people is that they're the Knights of the White Wolf. They kind of ride into battle without using shields. They carry war hammers literally, and have these wolf pelts on their back that they kind of ride behind them. So we're just gonna start throwing some paint on these minis. And anybody who's not familiar with like miniature painting, you kind of build it up in layers. So you start with like some base coats, and then you kind of add more and more details and highlights over time. And I'll try to like arrange myself probably as I get more familiar, like just with what angles work and what's comfortable to both paint in and show everything. I'll kind of adjust these streams over time because we want to be able to like see it and keep the important stuff in focus, but still like allow me to like paint in the appropriate details and everything. But strategically, I think right now I have it set up so we can kind of tackle the horses. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out like certain base colors and hit the initial colors first and kind of go through the entirety of them, like do colors on each of them at once, and then like we'll do one color on each horse and then move on to the next color and so on. And when we're looking at it, let's see, where's the best positioning for this? So probably about there, I guess. I want to be holding it here, and let's see, focusing maybe around there. So you want to ideally, like with something, these are pretty small, like this is just like the brush, so pretty small miniature. So you can see there's a lot of like fine details in it, and the trouble is, like, obviously, some people have really, really steady hands. I don't have the steadiest, so you want to, the smart way to kind of approach this thing is to hit the areas that would be the most pain to clean up later first. So like with this, you can kind of see that I hope that doesn't screw up the trouble is, like, the aperture is kind of shifting every time. I should see if there's like a setting on there to not shift the aperture with that, but you can kind of see how like the detail in like the eye and the horse's mouth and stuff, like if I paint all the armor first and the chainmail and then trying to get this eye, and I mess up like the eye and like the paint goes on the armor and stuff, it would be kind of a pain to have to repaint all the armor. So I'm thinking we'll just paint the horses' bodies first. So like I'll start that by just adding some like I think we're going to do kind of gray horse bodies, like a kind of a stippled effect on there. Let's see, that's on manual focus. Yeah, I'll have to mess with that later because I don't want to pull up all the camera settings right now on stream, but just the aperture, keeping on changing, you can kind of see like when something comes in between the light or whatever, everything kind of shifts the aperture focus, so it's kind of a little bit off or whatever. So, but I'm gonna start by just laying down some base coats. This first color is gonna be just a kind of an even gray we're gonna try to put on here. So let's see. Is this still gonna stay focused? This isn't gonna be too much different from the primer. Now the trick with these paints too is that you want to like thin them a little bit, and they won't necessarily get full coverage the first time through. Like, it's kind of a balancing act, because if you put the paint on too thick, you can lose some of the details. But if you like, so basically it'll either glob on, or at the very least, like, you'll start seeing like the strokes of the paint, right? But if it's like too thin, it kind of ends up where it doesn't cover it appropriately. So you kind of want to find the balance so you can eventually have like a smooth, even coat on the model when you put down these base coats. And right now, since this is the very first paint, it doesn't matter. I don't have to be super careful, because if I get it on any of the other areas, like where, you know, any of the armor or the leather parts or whatever, I'm just gonna paint it over anyways, so I have the freedom to be a little bit loose with it. Let's see, so I hit inside the eye area right here. And the mouth. Actually, I'm gonna go grab a little paper towel so I can manage how much moisture is on my brush. 1 second. Get this back into where we want it. I know it's not the most exciting watching someone paint gray on gray, but honestly, I know there's a lot of people who just put streams on in the background and, you know, just have things going on while they're doing other things. And me personally, I just want to have my, like, I'd like to have people that just want to come and hang out and chat, or if people want to like use this as an excuse to like paint along with me if they have like some minis that they've been meaning to get to and need an excuse, because that's like my thing is like, hey, I have an excuse to actually sit down and paint now because I'm making a stream out of it. That could have stood to be a little more watered down, I think. Wasn't sure. I have like, so not really visible on camera right now, but I have a little like palette paper or whatever, where I take some paint out of the pot and I kind of put it down and then I add some water to it to thin it out. But I also have what's known as a wet palette, where it's basically some paper on top of a wet sponge that kind of keeps the paint hydrated as you paint, so it doesn't like dry out on you, because these these are like acrylic paints, and they dry out relatively quickly-ish. So I wasn't sure if I should go through all the hassle. It's been like a while since I've messed with it, but might have been worthwhile. I'm still like trying to find the correct consistency for all this. And it is really hard to tell with this color is, I'm using the Games Workshop's paints right now. I have others. I have like Vallejo paints as well and stuff, but this one is like Administratum Gray, which is really close to the Corax white primer I use, so it's hard to tell exactly where I put down the paint already, like especially on top of, like when I'm using such a thin layer as well. You can kind of see it, maybe not with the way the lighting is on this camera, how it keeps on shifting, and that focus is not great. Let's see. Maybe I can switch to a more vibrant, visible color in a bit. It's definitely like a balancing act to try to get this all up in here. So let's see. See that back there? Laying down some paint on these back leg. I'm gonna try to keep this maybe a little lower, but just the focus. Won't be as tight a shot, but hopefully you can stay in there a little bit more. Get the back of this leg. It's kind of annoying every time I look over and see it getting a bit blown out in the preview monitor. I apologize for that. I'll definitely try to find a good way to adjust the settings. I was just struggling to even getting it working today. Let's get more paint on my palette because I'm having a little bit of trouble just getting enough to getting it to flow correctly. Okay, let's try keeping that there. Getting some of this inside the muzzle area, the eye. Okay, and the underneath. Forgot that this paint holder let me just rotate it in place, which is nice. Can hit all these angles a little bit better this way. I really gotta work on keeping it steady. I'm not used to keeping it in front of a camera, so I apologize. I'm gonna take a little more practice. Okay, putting this down. All right, well, let me see if I can set the aperture to a fixed setting. No, I don't see anything offhand, so it might have to be an off-stream thing, and I don't really want to shut off the stream just after starting it, so I guess I'll have to live with it. It won't be the best footage for now, but something's better than nothing. Alright, let me at least set this correctly. My computer's taking its very sweet time. Guess that's what I get for trying to stream on a laptop. But okay. Alright, well, let's start taking a look again. Is this still in the same position? Alright. And adjust the focus somewhat. Okay, let's see. 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 Okay, so let's try switching from the gray, and let's set up some armor. Let me look through my paint. We want to find our Retributor armor. I'm gonna shake it up because it's been sitting here for a while, and these paints tend to get separated over time. So sorry, my voice gonna warble a little bit, but you gotta make sure it's mixed nice and well, otherwise it's gonna be a little funky when you lay it out onto the mini. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So it's gonna be an interesting experiment. I never tried this recipe before, but the idea is I'm gonna give it kind of this metallic. I'm gonna use this metallic paint, and it's gonna be this kind of goldish with like silver highlights underneath. But then after all the gold and the highlighting is done, I'm gonna use this kind of one of their like contrast paints, basically. The special type of paint that kind of flows in a specific way and has a certain level of opacity, so that like basically the metallic flakes in this gold paint and the kind of warmth will shine through, but it'll give it an overall red type of tint to it. So hopefully the effect will look kind of nice in the end, but for this first step, this armor is going to basically turn gold. So add some water to thin it. This was a lot of these like paint recipes, as they call them, the different like layers and mixes and stuff. I got them from a YouTuber, like hobby painter, Juan Hidalgo. He's a really good painter here on YouTube and like on the Warhammer Reddit. But yeah, see, I already did a little bit of an over paint and got a touch on the body of the horse, which don't really want, but yeah, you can kind of see this is already drying a little bit. Putting it on really thin. Okay. I'm still not 100% convinced I mix this well enough, but just gonna still come on, lighting. How's the focus? Yeah, you want it to like be watered down just enough that it flows smoothly on your brush and it doesn't dry too easily on your brush. Come on. There we go. Boy, gotta learn to keep this right at the right position without getting too tensed up. Let's see. These tails aren't like 100% glued in all the way, so I can kind of like rotate them out of my way for a little bit of ease to paint. it's getting a little thin now, so I'll get a little bit more. Let's just throw some on this other side. Come on, get in focus. Come on, where's a good focal length? My goodness. A lot of futzing. Might be easier if I flip the screen over too. I can do that once I'm done with this brush load. That way I can get a better estimation of where everything is and like spatially from each other. Just kind of hit this upper part. Get this. All right, let's take a look. Okay. I don't know why it took me so long to kind of like realize, but my brain was automatically like translating it from being upside down and everything. Let me see. I don't think this camera really does autofocus support when it's in this mode. So, okay. Come on now. Okay. Let me try adjusting my lighting too. Yeah, that just made everything a bit more harsh. Alright, we'll just make the best of it. So yep. Okay. Yeah, right. The ad mechs are out again against me. It is nice to see how this gold is going on though, at least when you can get the focus on it. This is like a DSLR camera though, so there's probably like a better lens I could add to it that would get a more stable, consistent like depth of field on it. And instead of an overhead view, it might be better to do like an over the shoulder shot. Right now, if it's not really showing up, I'm kind of doing an underneath trim. See if I took that light away in general. Does that fuck with the aperture as much? Guess it happens regardless. Alright, well, my prerogative is more me seeing what I'm doing than anything else. Okay. Obviously, is kind of a thing you can, it depends on, like, I mean, if it's something you're into, like tabletop miniatures are kind of a mix appeal, because like most tabletop miniatures are tied to games, so people are into them a lot of times because they're tied to a particular game, be it D&D or Warhammer or whatever. So sometimes you really want to play the game and you want to rush through getting these things painted, and you can do that. There's like techniques to get it done faster and still like look decent and stuff, and then other people really enjoy the painting part and getting all the details nice and good. I'm kind of that latter group, but it's been hard to dedicate time and energy to making sure, like, just getting through the amount that I have that still need to be painted and everything. Let's see, where's the focus at there about there? Yeah, it's true. It is just the base coating stages right now. And there's so much base coating to do. And I might end up doing some of it off stream. Like, it'd be cool to kind of like, you know, progress on the whole thing, just and be able to document it all and kind of like have a shared journey. But at the same time, there's a little, like, with how finicky everything is and with how hard it is to see certain bits and pieces of it, and just scheduling, like sometimes it's easier just to get some of the odds and ends done in off time rather than waiting till I'm available to stream as well. But we'll see. And obviously I'd like to at least show off like the important parts and steps and whatnot. Get some more gold down. Yeah, that Administratum gray is so close to that Corax white primer, you really can't tell the difference on that. Gotta mix this some more, I think. Let's see. Oh boy. definitely kind of useful for something like this, is having one of these kind of like painting handles where you can hold it at different angles and kind of hit it from different directions without worrying about not being able to have a good grip on it. Still not the easiest to get it set up good on camera, but it's gonna have gold on that little top ridge, but then there's gonna be underneath it is a little like chain area which will be silver. A lot of like mixed materials in the horse area. Kind of a really neat sculpt, but I know, just yeah, I'm into a lot of different traditional nerd stuff and hobby stuff and whatnot, and like I was into models and hobby stuff as a kid, and but it really got me into Warhammer Fantasy was definitely like the miniatures and seeing them on the tabletop, and like the lore is neat, and like I know a lot of people live and die by Warhammer lore, but I really liked seeing, especially in the fantasy battles, it was about having armies, so it's just seeing a bunch of these type of like all the knights lined up and the like soldiers in big masses like headed for each other was just very like visually impressive, and I'm like, that would be amazing to like have and like create and build yourself. Oh my gosh. All right, can I get this? Let's try this angle again. I can find the place to hold it for the focus. Let's get the ridge. A little bit further up. I'm trying to get this underside under here. And underneath where these chains are. Again, it's gonna be messy right now because I'm going, since it's the first base coat, other areas and other colors are gonna be able to clean up the areas after I do it, since I knew this. I'm allowing myself to be messy, and then I'll have to force myself to be more careful later on. Which will mean I'll have to probably sacrifice good camera angles for the sake of being clean with it, but so it goes. And that just went off the screen, but okay. Further out, that's the furthest zoom I got, huh? Okay. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Oh man. Definitely contorting myself a little bit trying to get this on camera, but as you can't really see it, but my palette underneath, it's the gold I put on there, this particular gold, it's starting to separate a little bit, and I can definitely see like some red separating out of it. These like red undertones are really gonna like play in when I put the red over it later on. Okay. Okay, I think I can switch to probably the next horse. Probably gonna have to get some more gold on my palette because this kind of, this part's thin and it's starting to dry out, so. Sorry, I'm sure my voice is way out of sync with the chill music playing in the background. Over the years, I have bought a lot more figures than I've actually completed painting. I have a handful painted, but definitely need to catch up, so yeah, this is a good opportunity. Come on. Push, please. Do not want to do that. Okay. Get that in the shot. You can see how it's definitely more rich right now as I'm putting it on. Although it's kind of reflective with this light shining on it. Could probably stand to diffuse it a little bit, but well, the 40K I think at this point is the more popular of the franchises. Warhammer Fantasy did get a good amount of new fans with the release of the Total War Warhammers series of video games, and it's kind of ironic because those games came out like right after they discontinued the tabletop games, so it's a little bittersweet for people who were fans of the tabletop game. But if anybody was familiar with the fantasy lore, in particular the Empire is the faction I enjoyed playing. Like right now I'm painting, this is going to be a squad of knights of the White Wolf when all is said and done. I already have a unit of Reichsguard, which are kind of like the kind of poster boys of Empire knights, pretty much. And then I have enough to do like one more unit of knights, and my intention is to do what's the name? Knights of the oh wow, I'm totally blanking on the name right now. That makes me a fake fan. Right, Knights of the something Sun, Golden Sun, I think, maybe. I'd have to look it up, but they're basically, their color scheme is like black with like yellow golden sun insignia, a lot of that kind of really emboldened stuff. So and they're all going to be very like visually distinct to each other. And then the main army I have is Tabelheim coloring, so it's a very half and half pattern, like red and white coloration between them for the main units and stuff. And at some point I'll get some shots together, or I'll show them just on stream in general. And I really kind of like the aesthetic of just kind of these bright, like just uniformed armies, like getting ready to head into battle together and stuff, which is ironic because it's like at the same time I'm not super huge into like Space Marines, which you would think would be kind of similar, but whatever. You like what you like, I guess. My goodness. I hope everyone out there is doing well today. World's kind of crazy. Just need some time to chill out, honestly. Even I like have just so much stuff I should be doing, honestly, but I just like take way too much time to waste doing. Well, I just don't. Oh, there goes my cam for a moment, but came back, so I guess we're okay. Jeez. Yeah, there's always work and people who want your money, or people who want to give you a hard time or whatever, and don't get a lot of time to just chill or enjoy yourself unless you make time for it. And honestly, like, I don't even really know how to do that often. That's why I have to trick myself by having a stream. Can't even just do it on my own by just having something I enjoy. It's like, no, you have to make it a stream to trick yourself into doing something you like doing. But now that I'm here, it's like just in the moment, painting minis, chatting to the void, dog sleeping next to me. We'll see how far I get. Music probably helps, honestly. I want to do this really often. I will have to try to upgrade a lot of things, which will be an investment. We'll see how that goes. But trouble is, I'm kind of just a tech head in general. So even though don't think I'll ever be one of those people popular enough to make money streaming. I'll probably waste a lot of money doing it because I just like doing that kind of stuff. So I'm a programmer. I build stuff. I tinker with stuff. Gotta get some more paint. So funny how everything is like, I just adopt so many hobbies over time, and like definitely one of those people that, you know, just likes to figure out how to do things on their own. And that's why, you know, I discovered VTubers, and you know, I actually was always a fan of animation, and I went to school for animation. Actually, I was more into like 3D and motion graphics, and I never really got like good at drawing, sadly, and that kind of stuff. But I kind of came across VTube, and I'm like, oh, that seems neat. It kind of a mix of a passion of like video, and I'm like a programmer as my day job and everything. So, but now it's like, okay, now I'm gonna learn everything I can about streaming. I try to learn live 2D. I'll learn to try to draw. I'm gonna end up trying to customize this model more. I gotta perfect my rigging. I gotta eventually redesign this or save up enough to commission a good artist, but there's only so much hours in the day and so much willpower you can commit yourself to, you know, especially when you're just got like probably just ADD, you know. But I don't know, there's something to be said about just always trying to give it a shot instead of necessarily ruling it out and giving up too easily. And especially since, like, I don't know, it'd be different if I had unrealistic expectations, but I don't know, nobody owes me anything. I don't I don't expect to ever have anyone pay me to do this or anything. I just want to enjoy my time here and have fun with it and just meet some people to hang out with, honestly. Okay. I could use a little more water. I'm not being too far in. I don't want to hit the camera with my head. Let's see. Can I adjust this focus maybe? Again, pain in the butt. I want to show that I'm working on this head thing. The edges at least, I think, okay. Readjust my focus. It's hard having to like reach up to the lens and do this every time. There's a point in my life where I actually worked for a news station, and I did like audio for a while. Where I ended up was doing audio, but started off doing cameras for like in the studio, in the news. And one of the things that was kind of nice about it is the cameras were mounted on these giant movable like tripod things on wheels, and they would have these two long handlebar things, and your focus was on a little knob on like the right hand side, and you could just turn that knob and adjust the focus right there. And the thing is like the live broadcast would only show one camera at a time, and there'd be like 3 cameras running. So when you weren't live and like you had to move or something, you move your camera, you zoom in all the way, and then you could adjust your focus and you could tell exactly like you were in perfect focus. Then you zoom out and you knew you were in focus, and since like it was like just a news anchor sitting there, they weren't going to move away, so you knew that you were in focus. But that's a lot harder here because now I have to like reach up and adjust the focus ring on the camera, and my hand obviously is constantly moving and adjusting, and the zoom is already so tight that I move it just like an inch and it's already like off center and everything. So it's definitely a different experience trying to like keep everything within a good shot. It's one of those things where it's like a practice makes perfect situation. All right, let's let's add some more gold onto this next one. A little too much water. Okay, here we go. Next one. I'm trying to maintain like a constant distance by like just keeping my elbow on the table so it doesn't like at least move too much in that direction, but it's still like if I rotate my wrist it goes lower, and then that adjusts the angle away from the camera. Not so much a complaint, it's just interesting because technically, like when I said I went to school for animation, it was film and animation. I was very interested in all of it. So I know this is off right now, but I'm just trying to get this underneath trim that honestly no one will ever see unless they pick up and like inspect it at all angles. But kind of one of the core things to remember if you're like just getting started with painting, or you're thinking about getting started and you're watching people who are like make painting content or are like professionals, and there's people who are like, you know, there's competitions for like miniature painting and the likes, but the fact of the matter is it's like these are meant to be on a table while you're playing a game, so they just have to look good from like 3 or 4 feet away. They don't have to look good when you're up close, and like some people like to make it look good when they're up close, but there's a lot of like things you can get away with. Can I get back in the center? Come on, Odin, stop being stupid. Oh, okay, come on, camera, you stop being stupid. All right, did you die? Interesting, hold on. Well, that's not good. Did my camera finally get tired of me complaining? Okay. Alright, well, I'm still trying to figure this out, but if I don't get it up in a minute or so, then that might be the stream. We'll see. Why are you doing this? Alright. Okay then. Well, I guess for now that'll be the stream. I'll have to work out the issues with this. It looks like I might have to get some new equipment before I attempt this again, because this time I at least got to stream, but yeah, not much more than that. So it might be a little bit before I start again, but maybe I'll finish up this gold base coating on these and then I'll pick it up a little bit next time. But anyways, thanks for joining me. I go back to normal game streaming next week then, and I'll let you know when I get back to mini painting. Alright, thanks. Hope you all have a good day and take care. Bye.